We're here at the Triple I Conference in Chicago. Great conference. With me is Dr. Jim Rosborg, a Master's in Graduate Education. And we're here to talk about the impact that space has on learning. And we're in a little interesting situation. The 5 colleges that I'm currently working with have recognized that there's a generation that's coming their way that in order for the colleges to be relevant and competitive, they need to rethink their alignment of spaces, their pedagogy, to be ready to really compete and attract students to their university. So that conversation's already occurring. As it trickles down to K through 12, the question is, what kinds of spaces really do affect learning in the classroom? And I don't know, you've designed a number of schools, so you probably have some sense of what works and what doesn't.
I do, and what a great experience it was, and in fact, Gittner Architects worked with us in the development of 2 schools in Belleville 118 when I was superintendent. And the overall change that takes place is many-fold. Mm-hmm. I think in relationship to the question that you had, though, the big thing now that is occurring is in technology, the adjustments that have to be made in the development of new schools. And that includes many areas: communication within the school, safety measures within in the school, and how to use curriculum with the advent of technology in the schools. Mm-hmm. And it is coming. As a superintendent, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on textbooks. Mm-hmm. And in a time where there is a period of financial stress, right. I think many schools are looking at ways to still get the knowledge to prepare those students for college, mm-hmm. as occurred in the past, and the use of how would you use technology. Mm-hmm. For example, many schools now are going into the use of the Chrome mm-hmm. book,
yep, 101.
instead of textbooks.
Right.
And I think colleges have to adjust to that too. Getting back to your question.
Uh-huh.
And now, then it becomes the question: how do we use the software associated with that Chrome? Mm-hmm. Because you still need to have articulation between grade levels, and there has to be an articulation plan of what is used at each grade level to improve that student's learning. Because if it's just used for games, mm-hmm. or it's just used with no plan, then you're going to duplicate one grade level to the next, which will not maximize that student's learning. Mm-hmm. And so I think the key, I think it's a great advantage for possible growth in the future. Mm-hmm. But I also feel that it is something that there has to be a direct plan involved in relationship to that growth. Mm-hmm. Now, let's switch to safety. Mm-hmm. What an advantage that technology can be with monitoring of what's happening in the school, even from the standpoint of automatically closing some, locking some doors to limit access in academic times. Mm-hmm. Those are all things that are ways, because we didn't hardly think of that mm-hmm. 10 years ago.
Never did.
But now, what has happened is, in our society now, that has to be part of the architectural process mm-hmm. and the design of that building. Yep. The other thing that is just wonderful about technology, I think, is the ability to communicate between, for example, administration and the staff. And now with the robocalls, with the advent of technology there, mm-hmm. a school that, as it designs, can figure out a way to robocall their parents. Mm-hmm. That's improving mm-hmm. communication. Mm-hmm. And I think all of those things. Let's get down to the classroom itself, mm-hmm. of being able to use the computer for specific lessons in regards to support of the topic that is being discussed. The ability for the students to use hands-on experience, because we've always known this, no matter how old our curriculum development is, if a child can do hands-on activities, they are much better off. Plus, let's face it, kids today are growing up with the iPads, the iPods, and
They expect it.
They expect it,
Yep.
and you're going to have a better listening technique that takes place if indeed those things are all merged together in a collective plan. That's the important part.
You know, one of the things I've learned in studying the Generation Alpha students is that, believe it or not, and many people don't believe this, is that they are highly collaborative. But they're highly collaborative, not physically face-to-face, they are on a virtual sense, in that they may be talking to 30 to 40 other students, whether it's playing a game or doing homework together, that is really different than the way we expect collaboration to occur. So we're looking at how to affect spaces so that there could be collaboration in a number of styles, not just the traditional style we're talking about with 4 of us sitting around a table. So that's another way that's going to affect the classroom. The other one is having the ability to move walls and to reshape the space. So students can make those decisions on their own and not be something that's dictated to them when they come to the classroom. The other one is, just so you can comment on it, is when a student walks into a space, within the first 5 seconds, they form an opinion of what is expected of them. Sometimes the bar is lowered because they say, this is not someplace I want to be, or it raises, such as in some of the commons areas, the learning stairs, where they have an ability to work collectively and collaboratively in some of their shared common hours between classes, and meet friends and do the rest. And so the school is really a different social place, and learning is going to take place in ways that we can't predict when we're designing today's schools, where it's going to be the day school opens. So it's pretty exciting for us to look at that. So I'd like to get you involved in the next design and see what ideas you can input.
You raised such good points here. You know, as an older American now, been in education 47 years, I learned a lot from my grandsons. In fact, when I have a technology question, I ask my 12-year-old grandson. But even with him, you raised such competition when we were growing up was going outside after school and playing basketball and football. A lot of times now there's competition that's taking place with, like my grandson say, I had 53 people involved in this game, and Grandpa, I got second place. And
very much.
You know, that form of competition has changed. The other thing you said that I'd like to reinforce is kids when we built the new schools, their test scores went up. Because you made a valid point there. When they stepped in that school, they felt great. When we added on an addition at one of our schools in a lower economic, the whole neighborhood got pride in the school, and their test scores went up. And in fact, I like to tell the story of when we built that new school. I'd go in and check on it and make sure everything's okay. So my wife and I went on a Sunday, and I went to go in the front door, and one of the neighbors came out and said, "What are you doing?" Because I was literally protecting the school. So the development of the new school changes attitudes. It has the potential to greatly improve the curriculum and learning through technology, and greatly improve the safety of students in that learning environment.
Well, now as we design schools, everything's in 3D. It's a virtual reality. We can walk through the school and look around the room and really kind of test it before we make decisions and build the wrong answer for them. So I'll be anxious to get you involved in the next generation of school design.
Okay.
Thank you
buddy.
so much.